Check 1 2 1 2. How we doing, friends? I'm the Zim. This is the Zim video. For a reminder, those of you that are joining me for the first time, I'm an artist and art professor traveling across the country from Seattle to Rochester, New York, because I got a new teaching position for 1 year visiting faculty. I'll talk more about that on my platform as a whole. When you watch the Art Professors podcast coming up soon, season 2, we'll talk more about that later. But I'm traveling across the country. I'm also a game streamer. I'm an artist. I'm politically curious, I'd like to say I am right now. I'm a father, and yeah, those are the important things in my life right now. Those of you that are able to support my journey, I was able to get a hotel again tonight. I would love to get a hotel again tomorrow night. I'm planning on doing it, but if you can help me pay for food, gas, and lodging for one more night, and then we're in Rochester, that would be amazing. PayPal, Venmo on the screen. Let me know if you have any questions. Today's show, this is kind of my travel vlog, updating you on my journey, and it's been thinking about what's going on in our political space, plus how I've been feeling and what I've been seeing on my physical journey. So today we're going to talk a little bit about politics again. The idea of the far left, the leftists, and the far right, the MAGA, and how they are more similar than different, or in some ways. And then we'll get into the journey, rest of, catch you up on what happened today in terms of the drive. So let's get into this idea. So I posted this on my TikTok earlier today. The idea that I've been thinking about it, and it dawned on me there's these similarities I was seeing in the far leftist ideology of how they're talking about things and what they're doing and saying, and that idea, and the far right ideology, the MAGA ideology, and what they say and do and think. And then I learned today from the video I posted on TikTok that there's a theory of this. It's called the Horseshoe theory, which I didn't know. So it's already an established kind of theory. I'm just going to now talk to you about it in the way that I'm experiencing it. And there was 3 main points that I've really started to recognize. And those 3 points are, the first one I'll put is this cult-like behavior. And the way I define the cult-like behavior, so obviously with MAGA, it's like, you have the symbol of Trump as somebody that can do no wrong. And it's like they're stuck on this cult-like behavior around that. With the far leftists, it's a cult-like behavior around the ideology. Like it has to be this one way and no other way. Like with MAGA, it has to be Trump and no one else because he's a deity. With leftists, it has to be ultra progressive, and if it's not ultra progressive, it's nothing. And it's so this cult, and they refuse to budge. What I see is they refuse to take in new information, for one, and adjust their opinions about things. They're also not willing to look at the reality of our society and what we're dealing with. With the far leftists, it's like this desire to create a third party and vote for third parties when there hasn't been an established coalition of third party. Like it's like I don't know. I've been talking about this a lot, but to expect a presidential nomination, presidential candidate taken seriously for third party, and yet there's not this severe coalition of third party voters, getting on Zoom calls and raising hundreds of millions of dollars. Like it's just like you're not in this reality. You have to be in this reality and take what you can get. That's number 1 point, is this cult-like behavior around their ideology. Number 2 is moving the goalposts. So we've seen with the MAGA portion of society, they, whenever Trump does something, it's like, oh, it's okay. It's, can be a felon. Oh, and right. At any other time in history, being a chauvinistic sexual predator, all the things that Trump has been and shown he is would have been a deal breaker for every other presidential election until this one. But for some reason, that goalpost has been, it didn't mean much. It's okay for Trump. Like, that's the idea of moving the goalpost. And I see the leftists doing the same thing. Like, as progressive leftists, we've been working for decades to get to this point, to be able to elect and nominate and elect our first female Black, South Asian president that can't be understated how important that is. And I've heard people talking about, we don't care about identity politics. It matters. It matters to so many people that representation is going to be happening, that the global majority is now going to be represented in our society as the highest possible office. The most powerful person in the world is going to be a woman that's Black, that's also South Asian. To undersell the importance of that is, in my opinion, being grossly disingenuous to the idea, and not just, it's frustrating how, to undersell that, to say it's, to minimize that concept because of whatever you think about it. It's maddening to me. So we've been working for this moment as progressives, as leftists, and now it's not good enough. Now we need to have so many more things, as well. And the big one is the stance on Israel and Palestine. And we know within the system, we have two choices. We have the destroy the world Trump choice, and we have the status quo, maybe, and will move us in the direction we want. We have at least the dividing line is the status quo moving in the direction we want, or destroy the world. Just totally mess everything up. It's already, and it's been proven because they're taking away rights of people in our society. And you think it's going to be better if we don't get this person in, because that's the only choice. It's not like we have another choice. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in a second. And, we'll talk about more about that in a second. And then the third point is the fear mongering. And the way that the left or the MAGA right does it is, if they're racist, they're homophobic, they're sexist, they're just it's like, you're not like me, so that must mean you're bad. You're a different skin color, so you're bad. You're a different ideology, so you're bad. It's like this. And so they're going to ruin it. They're going to ruin your life if you elect someone that doesn't look like you. So it's like, that's a big part of their fear mongering, among with a lot of other things. The leftist fear mongering is saying that the two systems, the Democrat and Republican ideologies, are the same thing, and they're both going to destroy our world, and they're both corrupt, and they're both that. And I'm not saying at all that there isn't solutions that need to be made, there isn't improvement that needs to happen, but to put them together, to conflate the two ideas of Democrat and Republican ideology, is, again, massively disingenuous, because they're not the same. And you're just creating, in my opinion, more doubt in the system. And we need to have trust in the system. And, they're making the exception the rule. And that's the problem with a lot of our society, especially with the conservative portion. Whenever, they talk about whatever they don't agree with, whenever it happens once, it becomes the rule versus the exception. And the far left is doing that same thing. When there is something that's not the best situation in the party system, they're like, oh, see, that's what I'm talking about. See, when you're just not even willing to allow the progress that has happened to be something that's worth, celebrating in a lot of ways. So, it's just, and that's the other, it goes back to what I was saying before. It's like, this is the system we're in. We have to work slowly toward that ideal situation of our society. It's not going to happen all at once. And to fearmonger and say they're both the same and just throw your hands up when you haven't done the groundwork to give us a viable alternative is grossly disingenuous, and being like, there's another word I'm looking for, like uneducated, like just not thinking, not being a critical thinker about the situation we're in. So those are the 3 points where I see the far left and the far right are very similar. They both act cultish, they both move the goalposts, and they both fearmonger, and which is ironic because with the leftists, especially with the fear mongering, because they say that Democrats do that. They say we're fear mongering by saying, oh, it'll be worse if you don't vote for me, and so, which I'm glad the narrative of that is changing with Kamala. If you're listening to what the language they're using in the campaign, and the language is already shifting, which is awesome. So I wanted to use this analogy that the leftists, and I consider myself a leftist, but I consider myself a rational leftist. I know the situation, I know the system we're in, so I'm going to work in the system to get us closer to a better society. Because you can't work outside of the system. It's impossible. You can work outside of the system, but you have to do the groundwork. So this analogy I've been thinking about is the leftists they walk into an ice cream shop that serves chocolate and vanilla ice cream. That's what they serve. That's what they make. That's all they have is chocolate and vanilla. And they come in and they want strawberry. And it's like, this shop sells chocolate and vanilla ice cream. If you want to have strawberry ice cream, you go out and make your own strawberry ice cream. You go pick your strawberries, you go open your shop, you go, grind this, the whole thing, make the ice cream. And they haven't made the ice cream yet. They haven't gone out and done the grassroots work of creating the coalition, of the third party coalition, or whatever it might be. But these two, the chocolate and vanilla has been, for generations, have been building up these coalitions of these two options. I could go on more and more about that. I've talked about it in previous episodes as well. But anyways, so that's my thought on where we stand with politics right now, what I've been thinking about. All right, on to the journey. So we started this morning in Cheyenne, and we basically drove all the way across Iowa, and we're now in this little sliver right on the border of Iowa and Illinois, and I'm staying at a hotel, obviously, in Illinois. So we're in Illinois right now. Thing I noticed about Iowa is it is the postcard version of America, one of them anyway. That rolling hills with cornfields, the big red barn. So I was traveling on the I-80 again, and it's like, this is what the propaganda of what America is this. This one, a very strong idea of America is driving through Iowa. So yeah, which I didn't enjoy the ride as much because it was like there wasn't as much scenery beyond that to look at. And it seems like there were cities, there's more urban environments closer together, so you didn't get that drives where you weren't navigating through traffic as much. It was like there was more, dealing with other drivers, which isn't terrible, but it's noticeable. And so where I'm trying to drive is like I just I have a really low tolerance for drivers that don't seem to be thinking about how they're navigating through the roads. So when they come right up on your butt and it's like, what are you doing? There's like 3 cars in front of me. I can't go anywhere. Why are you driving right up on my things? And it's like, I don't know, things like that really bug me. So I try to make it so that I'm basically, when I put it on cruise control, I can leave it on cruise control for as long as possible. So if that means that I have to drive a little bit slower behind somebody else so that the people that want to go can just go and I'm just like cruising along, that's what I prefer. A couple of other things I wanted to say. So tomorrow is the longest leg of my journey. I'm driving from here to Cleveland, and so that'll be at least like a 9-hour drive. So I'm gonna get up early and get on the road and get out there because I want to get to Rochester by Wednesday. And I'll be, like I said at the beginning, I'm trying to stay at a hotel. Probably will be staying in a hotel in Cleveland. So again, if you can help me out with that, let me know. Kick down a Venmo or PayPal. It's my longest leg, but I did want to say one thing I didn't say yesterday that I should have was yesterday was actually the best day of the journey. And I think it was partially because like my sister came through, was like, get a hotel room. And I was like relieved that I wouldn't have to camp again. So I think that helped, but I don't know, for whatever reason, I was past the halfway point or something, or in the halfway point. So I knew I was getting close to my final destination. and life just calmed down a lot for me. So, and then I had this kind of realization that, like, even though I've been sharing with you about my journey, like how this is making me feel with anxiety and different things, and worry about situations, money, car, all the different things I'm sort of worried about, because I want to be authentic with you and share that with you. So I have to make sure that you know as well that I'd rather this life of adventure, in a sense, I'd rather have this anxiety be doing things than just be sitting somewhere and not doing anything. It's like I'll take this any day of the week, like this feelings that I have to go through sometimes to feel like my life is actually like doing something and going somewhere. And it's like I'm really liking how life is right now. And the other part of it is it doesn't feel real. Like, it honestly doesn't feel real, which is really cool. I like this feeling of it feels like a weird dream in a sense, because all these new things happening, and it's so different than my life up to this point. Like, I've been pretty sedentary. I've been pretty much in one place for most of my life until I moved to San Diego, and then I was there for 5 years, 6 years, and then it just was like, well, I'm out in the world now, so let's see. And just like the domino effect of how life played out is like, let's just, and then the ideology of like, I have this, I don't want to just feel like I'm just waiting to die, in a sense. And so just by moving and doing things and exploring, I don't have that feeling. I feel like I'm living, I'm actually living. So, and I'd rather have this. And that's part of why, like, if I can manage it and maintain it, I don't know if I'll ever want to settle into another spot again until maybe I'm like 80, and hopefully I can stay healthy enough to keep exploring, or even after that, maybe until my last 10 years of life, when I hit 90 or something, I'll see if one of my kids will let me live in their something, or whatever, or I'll save up enough that I'll have a nice little, I can go into a assisted living or something. But I don't want to stop now that I've started, 'cause I'm not anywhere near the idea of settling, which is like crazy, because where I'm at in my life in terms of age, it's like I am an anomaly to most people my age. Like, most people my age are like, what? I would never do that, because they either did it when they were younger, or they're just maybe too scared to start now. And I don't want to be afraid, for one, but then two, I don't want the idea of letting money be the obstacle, which is something I've been thinking about too. It's like, I recognized I've been getting better at not letting money be the obstacle, but it obviously still creeps its head up. So like this idea of, I'm on this trip and I have to be reconcile with the idea that I really can't afford to be on this trip, but I'm doing it anyway. So it's kind of interesting. And I was kind of letting money start to become an obstacle, and I'm just like, I just gotta let it go. Just stop thinking about it, So that's where I'm there. All right, friends, that's all I wanted to say today. If you can help out, let me know. Otherwise, I'll check in with you again. Oh, last thing, I was gonna mention this at the top. I think maybe I did, I don't know. I'm really tired. This is like the most tired I've been, and I think it's, just driving 6 days now, or whatever it was. I'm just pretty tired. So catch up with you again tomorrow. Peace, my friends.